Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today I'm unboxing ATOLL's IN100 signature integrated amplifier. This stunning 100 watt amplifier is superb. Still, it's handmade in France, which is very unusual for anything in this price point. It's highlighting the quality of the product and the quality of the manufacturing. The unit, again, 100 watts a channel, 140 into 4 ohms, and at any peak will deliver up to 180 watts in dynamic power. So lots and lots of power. And it's where that power comes from that's actually a defining moment with ATOLL as a brand. And their lesser models, their 50, 80 and the 100 we're going to see. Each step they introduce more capacitance, more power supplies by physical number, as well as the quality and size of those power supplies to deliver clean, unadulterated power to the transistors, to then of course be able to deliver all the control to the speakers or the load that you are presenting. This product is small yet mighty. It weighs 11-12 kilos, yet it's only compact and small. So it's superb. Now, let's have a look. Firstly, the packaging. In all of these sort of first tier ranges in their signature, so again they're 50, 80 and 100, they're in a very basic sort of box with an ATOLL logo and some basic information. Hand sort of written on the side or stamped is a bit of information about what's inside. Obviously the model number, and with that stamped its serial number. Above it in this little option though, it highlights what colour it's going to be, which is aluminium or silver. And also the fact that this includes one of the optional remote controls. You can have this factory fitted with one of the 2 phono preamps that are optional and one of the 2 DACs if you wish. Although commonly here in New Zealand we get the amplifiers and then fit the accessories later to be able to avoid stock duplication and tailor things for our customers as required. The rest of the packaging again is just an emulation of that on the other side. Opening it's really easy. A simple nick on the factory tape and we're in without too much fuss. The packaging is closed cell foam, and at one end we see a New Zealand IEC power cord. At the other end we see an instruction manual, and because of the similar form factors and features of the 50, 80 and 100, we see an owner's manual that actually refers to all 3. Down on the side here we see the remote control. Now the remote itself is somewhat universal across all of the range. It'll control the CD player and any of the integrated amplifiers. It's a nice little fit and finish, and it's very easy to see some of the key components. It's also sort of broken down into some of the things associated with the DAC and tuner and features along those lines. In the base there is a couple of those sort of coin batteries. Now the unit itself, again in closed cell foam, is relatively heavy, as I've already implied. Taking it out is pretty straightforward, and we see an additional piece of closed cell foam to support the base of the unit so that the weight of the large power transformers is more evenly dispersed. At this point it's very easy to take the ends off. And at one end we see that the plastic bag is sealed with a little bit of sellotape. A simple enough nick and we're in there. Sliding it open we see a couple of small things. Firstly, they use rubber sort of stick-on feet. It's a compromise in cost that realistically doesn't compromise anything to do with the sound. So it delivers, of course, again, a better bang for buck. Rotating it around and sliding the bag off, we get to see for the first time the product itself. Now before I go on, I want to highlight at the base these large bolts. Now what I've alluded to is we see the graduation of quality and control associated with the 50, 80 and the 100 is the introduction of more capacitance and power supplies. This is the first that has dual power supplies, but to follow the basic circuit topography associated with the lesser models, the power supplies are actually off to one side. In the 200, which again you'll see our unboxing of that, the power supplies are more central. Here they're forced to put them off to one side. It does mean that the amplifier has a little bit of a weight shift off to one side, but it's not a big deal. Looking at it, it's very, very muted in design from the front. Other than the extremely elegant extruded aluminium front, we've got very little of a hint as far as what they're packing inside. We see some very basics as far as the printing of the IN100 logo or model. We've got a basic on-off. Now there's a little lamp that actually illuminates underneath, and then we've got the ability to select the digital inputs and the analog inputs across the front. We see a IR sensor for the remote control, a basic analog volume pot, and the volume pot itself is extremely good from a quality perspective, and then an excellent headphone socket. It's a 6 1/4. Then we see the illumination associated with the inputs that you may have selected, and these are screen printed auxiliary CD tuner, DVD TA or USB, and the Bluetooth and other features that can be added. The digital to analog converter is a separate illuminated light, and that's if you add the digital card. Leaning it forward, we see ATOLL's distinct design with this beautiful sort of curved sweep showing the ventilation is highlighted in the middle where it is required, and then they use this sort of sweeping design to give a sense of elegance. Like the lesser models, this isn't very deep, although it's much, much heavier than the smaller models I've mentioned. Looking at the back, we see a couple of things that I want to highlight. The first is an auxiliary input and a hole drilled beside it. You'll see that that is sort of a little bit larger from a screen printing perspective, because if a phono preamp is added, there's an additional ground tap point here that is added as well, and it means that the phono preamp is perfect as far as the quality of matching to your turntable. Again, there's two possible phono preamps, one a lesser model and one extremely good that can be added to this. Above it is a little cutaway, and again this is where the DAC module can be added. It requires the opening of the unit for both of these additional things, but it's pretty straightforward to do for an end user if required, although we'd probably happily do it for you free of charge. The other inputs are marked CD, tuner, DVD. Then it's got a tape in out. And that output, of course, enables you to perhaps cascade it off to other things, or perhaps utilize it for a bank of other amplifiers or other products like a dedicated headphone amp perhaps. Unique in its price point is a bypass. Now, the bypass is often referred to as a processor in or theatre bypass. This enables the unit to be utilised as a power amplifier as it bypasses the preamp stage of the unit. And then there are duplicated pre-outs, enabling you to tap this into power amplification at a later stage if required. The outputs are clearly marked right and left, positive and negative, and the potential banana socket is covered off with a plastic cap, which is relatively easy to remove once you remove the brass binding post. Beneath that is a 12 volt trigger, and again that enables this to trigger on a larger power amplifiers or something else. There's a serial number along with an implication of its voltage, and then finally an IEC socket, which is fused, and there's a spare fuse in this little holder underneath, and then a good quality rocker switch to turn the unit on and off. Again, pausing and having a look at the elegance of this design and that beautiful sweeping sort of ventilation that is now iconic with ATOLL. So there we have it. ATOLL's lovely IN100 100 watt integrated amplifier, unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.